So Tom, we were in a planning meeting for end of the year content for IGN when you made a very bold statement.
Yeah, Venom is the worst movie of the year.
Now, I don't fully agree with that, and I decided before we could go home for the holidays.
You wouldn't let me leave until you got me here.
It is Christmas Day right now, and we had to have it out. Now, what I should say, preface this before we go in, is our audience at IGN, we know you guys love Venom, and
Why?
you know what? There are lots of reasons. So let's get into it. The pros and cons. Is Venom what I call a flawed rom-com that could have been so delightful, but still quite fun in and of itself, or the worst movie of 2018? Go.
It's the worst movie of 2018.
Why?
Because first of all, I think any people that are like, oh, it's actually really funny, and that is not intentional. This movie is we're not laughing with this movie. Like, I think it is any kind of goodwill towards the humor of the movie is mistaken for just like being so bad that you have to laugh at it.
This is where I disagree with you, because I think one of the things that's really fun about the movie is Tom Hardy himself. I agree. I think when you look at this movie, it's clear that the movie that Tom Hardy was acting in is not the movie that Ruben Fleischer was directing.
No.
But the fun that Tom Hardy had, like, he knows what this movie could and should have been, which, like, you didn't need so many of the other trappings. It could have just been like Venom and Eddie Brock ultimately like falling in love with each other and sort of deciding that this is why Venom wants to stay here, and leaning into like the wacky buddy comedy, which maybe still isn't what Venom fans would fully want from this, but I think what had like the best potential in this movie. That being said, I think the second act of Venom is the most fun part of Venom. I think the first part is a little slow as you're getting into it. The third act is just like the most boring version of
So
every
bad.
superhero movie
It looks
from the
like
aughts.
a cutscene from a PlayStation 2 licensed video game version of Venom.
But I still think that it's Tom Hardy, both as Eddie and as Venom, that carry this movie and make it. We rewatched it this week. We hadn't seen it since it was out in theaters, and then we went back and we rewatched it with it on Blu-ray. And to me, still, like, there was the things I enjoyed when I saw it in theaters, where I hated it the least of everyone, and certainly I hated it less than our reviewer, Laura Prudhomme, who gave it a 4, I believe. Yeah, they were still there, and it's like, I feel like it's a movie that I can revisit and still have fun with. Even if it's, again, not like maybe the most hardcore Venom horror movie that Ruben Fleischer thought he was directing and that people might have thought that they wanted from this movie.
And that goes back to, though, that it just like, it never knows what it wants to be, and nobody's on the same page, and that just makes it really difficult to watch. It's easy to laugh at because it's so just, you see all the places where it could have zigged, and it always zags. It always kind of goes the wrong way.
So let's pull it together, though. Like, there are a lot of movies that came out this year, and a lot of not good movies that came out this year. How is this the worst of all of them for you? And then I'll reveal what my worst movie is of the year.
I think there's nothing that it does for me, and I should say this is the worst movie that I've seen all year. I can't speak to, any of the Asylum movies that are up on, Sci-Fi Channel or whatever, but I will say that just none of it worked for me. I don't, does it have good visual effects? No. Is the story and screenwriting good and consistent? Absolutely not. Is it fun to laugh at, I guess?
That's something.
That's something, but it's not what makes a good or even okay movie.
I would say this movie to me is mediocre at best. I am not someone who read Venom comics or anything that I had like a deep love for the character beforehand. I sort of tangentially know a lot about Venom. So I went in sort of being like, all right, I know there are other symbiotes. It's not symbiotes. Like, that's about it. Let's have some fun. And for me, this movie was enough of that. Like, I will go out on a limb that I will record a conversation defending Venom from being the worst movie of the year, because I genuinely don't think it's that. And like, there is going to be a sequel. We know that they're working on a Venom 2 with Tom Hardy.
God help
and
us.
My hope for that, for all that they set up Carnage, is that they let Tom Hardy make the Venom rom-com he wants for Eddie Brock and Venom. Like, not even talking about the Tumblr shipping of those two characters and like the like Venom and Eddie kiss and like all that weirdness that's in the movie, but genuinely like having a film that's about this loser from Earth and this loser from outer space deciding that they are meant to be the pairing that like needs to stay together. I wish there was more in this movie, and I want that in the sequel.
And that setup is like, I would be into that. If they meant to do it and if they developed it as that, I would be so down to watch a rom-com with Venom and Eddie Brock, but it's accidentally almost that, and it doesn't achieve it. I will say it does not achieve that.
Fingers crossed for the sequel. By the way, you're wrong. The worst movie of the year is Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. But that aside, is Venom the worst movie of 2018, or is it something great? We want to know what you think in the comments. And don't worry, we have plenty more Venom for you as well. Make sure to check out this featurette of the She-Venom kiss. We know you want to watch it again. For what we think of as the best movie of 2018, make sure to check out our pick. It's within the same family. It's within the Marvel family. For all things movies at IGN, be sure to like and subscribe wherever you like to watch, and wherever you are, we hope you have a great holiday and a wonderful new year. We'll see you in 2019.
Don't watch Venom.